All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into something that's, well, it's pretty radical in the world of web development. We're asking, what if you could build a whole interactive web app and fit it all inside a single script? No folders, no build steps, just one file.
Just let that sink in for a minute. No complicated folder structures, no fighting with dependencies, just a single text file that you can copy, paste, and deploy. And boom, you have a full-blown app running globally in seconds. It kind of sounds like magic, right? But as you're about to see, it's a very real and incredibly powerful way to build.
So what we're really talking about here is a specific architectural pattern. It's called the self-contained serverless app. And the whole idea is that a single script running on a serverless platform contains everything. And I mean everything. The data, the server logic, the HTML for the page, the CSS for styling, and even the JavaScript that makes it interactive in the browser. It's the whole shebang, all rolled into one.
Okay, so the big question is, why, right? In a world that has all these sophisticated frameworks and complex tools, why on earth would we go back to something as simple as a single file? Well, the answer is right there in the question. Simplicity. This is all about pushing back against the crazy complexity of modern web development.
And believe me, the difference is night and day. On one hand, you have the way things are often done now. Dozens, maybe hundreds of files, these complicated build steps you have to run, and that thing every developer dreads, configuration hell. But on the other hand, you've got one script, 0 build steps, and a deployment that is literally copy-paste done. It just clears away so much noise.
This is the perfect way to think about it. This pattern turns your app into a digital Swiss Army knife. It's totally self-contained, you can carry it anywhere, and every tool you need for the job is already baked right in. You can version it, share it, and deploy it so easily.
All right, so how on earth does this actually work? How can one file pack in so much power? Let's pop the hood and take a look by breaking down a real example. A simple Help Center app built this way. It all begins with the data, and this is crucial. All the content for the app, every title, every bit of text, every setting, it's all stored in a plain old JavaScript object, just sitting right there at the top of the file. This makes managing your content incredibly simple.
Okay, next up, we've got the server logic. This fetch handler you see here, this is basically the brain of the operation. It acts like a tiny little server that wakes up for every single request that comes to your app. It's the traffic cop that decides what to do and what to show the user.
And this is where things get really clever. Instead of grabbing an HTML file from somewhere, the worker actually generates the entire page on the fly. It's literally building the website as a giant string of text, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and all, and then sends that finished product straight back to the browser.
So you can picture it like a little assembly line. Step 1, all your data is defined in that one object. Step 2, the server logic grabs that data and builds the complete page shell. And finally, step 3, a script that was included in that HTML comes to life in the browser and makes the whole thing interactive. It's just a really clean, straightforward flow.
Okay, this next part, this is the real aha moment. But wait a second. How does this stuff happening in your browser, the interactive parts, how does it get a hold of all that data we defined back on the server? This is the secret sauce that makes the whole thing work.
This right here is the magic trick. It's one single brilliant line of code. When the server is building that page to send to the browser, it takes that big data object from the top of the file, turns it into a string, and injects it directly into the client-side JavaScript it's also creating.
And what you end up with is this really elegant handoff. The server-side code does the heavy lifting up front. It builds the page and packs up all the data. Then it passes the baton to the client-side script, which wakes up inside the user's browser, already holding all the data it needs to make the page interactive, without ever having to ask the server for anything again.
Now you might be sitting there thinking, okay, that's cool for a little help center, but what about real complex stuff? Well, it turns out this pattern is way more versatile than you might think. Let's look at a few different apps all built using this exact same single file idea.
Well, take a look at the range here.
We start with that Help Center, which is a progressive web app with things like interactive cards and modals. Then we move up to a corporate briefing app that has to guide a user through a whole journey of different screens. And then we get all the way to an AI-powered support portal with a full-on chatbot. Each one just a single text file.
So as you can see, this isn't just a one-trick pony. The complexity really does scale up. You can start small and simple with something like the Help Center, but the pattern is totally robust enough to handle the trickier logic of the briefing app and even the high complexity of that AI support portal.
And this is the secret to making that high-complexity stuff work. That self-contained app doesn't have to do everything by itself. As you can see in the code for the support portal, it can make fetch requests out to other, more powerful back-end services, in this case to talk to an AI. So it's your front end, but it's also the smart gateway to more powerful backends, all in that same single file.
All right, let's wrap this up. Why does any of this matter to you? This isn't just some cool niche trick. It really represents a potential shift in how we think about building and shipping software.
Here's the real payoff. First off, you get insane performance because the code is running on the edge, super close to your users. You get the ultimate portability. It's just one file. Your development process becomes so much simpler without all those build tools. And my personal favorite, zero dependencies. You don't need to run npm install. It just works.
And that really leaves us with one last question to chew on. When you remove all that friction, when the whole process of creating, sharing, and deploying a new idea is as simple as managing a single text file, it just blows the doors wide open for creativity and experimentation. So I'll leave you with this. When building something new is this easy, what are you going to build next?